Yeah. All right. Tuesday night. This is a great freaking night to talk sports and other stuff, and it's going to be a lot of other stuff tonight. Alex Crawford is in with myself, Steve Cofield, and Ryan McKinnell, who's been off a couple of weeks. We'll see what sort of look he's sporting. He had a good day, I thought, the last couple of days on social media. So
what do you do?
I'm gonna try to stay composed. He's just brawling and battling, and then he's always got the President Trump material, so that's golden. But
I actually came into tonight excited to talk to Big Mac. I missed him actually, and I'm excited. I'm excited to his presence will be good.
He got into it with we'll call them or him the oldest social influencer that I've seen in Vegas, who I thought was way off base, but that's coming up. So as everyone jumps on the stream here, now you know what? Yeah, it is the former drunk Alex. That was an isolated incident, maybe once a year. Well, on the show.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind if it happens again. I thought it was funny.
I actually haven't drank since Vegas. Not because I wasn't not because I drew the line that was too much. I can't be sucking on a dirty old corn cob. More so I just haven't. So that's something positive, I guess. Or negative, depends on how you spin it.
We have the best live listeners on this podcast because they really listen and really pay attention. And a lot like our radio listeners, and a lot of them are crossover. But man, they remember stuff forever. Brady chimes in. More excited to talk to Big Mac or be under 3 weeks from being able to talk to the ex?
God, they do remember everything. That's great. I did. I woke up this morning and I said 19 days. I said 19 days, baby. Let's see what happens. Yeah, if you recall from the, what was it, 2 weeks ago show? Or whatever, that Friday night when I was drunk. Yeah, I guess I talked a lot. I still haven't I'll never go back and watch that. But I guess I talked about how I was not talking to my ex for a month. And so September 19th, we're back on talking.
You can talk. It doesn't mean you're back on or on her. Do you want to explain to Gil the Thrill? You got this. Alex got this story secondhand from me because I don't think you remember doing it. But what is the reference to sucking on a dirty old corn cob? That sounds really dirty.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in theory it was, especially with COVID precautions. But Cofield was super kind. And after I did the show on the Friday night at the Westgate Sportsbook, we went out. We tried to get K Barbecue because we've talked about it a lot when I've been on the happy hour. I feel like it's a recurring theme. We tried to get K Barbecue. It was tough with the Vegas COVID regulations, but we were able to get some Japanese food, kind of a tapas style ordering. We were done ordering. I was still hungry. You had some corn on the cob. You finished it. You ate the corn on the cob like one does, cleaned the cob. And apparently, as I found out from you, I wanted some of that after you were done, and I was kind of just gnawing on the cob.
I feel bad. You were still hungry, and we should have stayed around. But I have a feeling there wasn't going to be much leeway because we were there late, and the little server was like, "Okay, enough of this guy.
Get the drunk guy out." Okay,
she was like,
he's chewing on the corn cob.
He's not driving. Another inside reference. John Carvelli says that Alex go at the corn with the buble style. Do you know what the buble style is?
I don't.
It is buble. I don't want to because it gets too phallic. He was photoed. Let's just say this is a corn on the cob, right? Like this is a corn on. Let me put in this little lighter is a corn on the cob. Instead of going yum 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 across, he did this.
Michael Bublé, like the singer.
Yeah, he was gonna put the whole cob in and just strip it. Like what part of the country is that the norm?
How strong and grippy are your teeth? Like you're
right?
Wow, yeah,
it's a weird one. If you had done that, then I would absolutely have left you there.
Yeah, it was like rodent style. I would say like sewer rat style.
Yeah. And you know what? In the wild, we actually don't use all the food we're supposed to use. We're not responsible. Someone would have had the cob in the animal world. Someone would have had the corn at first, and there would be some sub-animal creature, or like you said, a rat or some, I don't know, something, and they would have torn apart the cob.
Exactly. No, we're wasteful. We're soft. We're a soft society. We're not wild people.
And we're getting softer. Okay, good segue without even knowing you were doing it. Are we soft if you listen to Cofield and Company, and when we have female guests on, if we go at them and we brawl with the female guest, What do you think the audience is hearing and thinking? Like, should they be treated differently than our male guests? Because I think if you even believe that, then that's an issue. But we've had that example in the past. We had a woman write in. We had a producer named Chrissy. And listen, if you folks hear the way we speak to Ari now, and we bust his horns, and we did it to John Von Tobel, and we did it to older producers like Chuck, we treated Chrissy just like Ari. And she was, boxed in and had a fight out of the corner, and, we'd get on her. And we had a woman call in who was like, they are mistreating her, they're abusing her. And Chrissy got so pissed off. She's like, how dare that woman say that? Like, I want to be treated that way. That's the way it goes. So I want to play this for you. This is Adam Candy, who's a Yankee fan. Myself, Yankee fan. Danielle McCartan, who we have on as a regular from WFAN in New York, Yankee fan. And we were talking about the trade deadline. And Candy was like, he was building the case like, of course the Yankees have to do something. And Danielle's case was, well, you don't want to trade away the farm. And then I jumped in over the top, and I'm like, that's it. Enough. Trust me, it's coming.
The Dodgers are clearly a better roster.
Go for it. That's it. Go for it. And it's the same. It's the same out here every year with the Dodgers. If the Dodgers are missing something small, well, it's not small. If they're missing a number 2 hammer in the starting pitching rotation, go get them. Stop playing the long game. Try to win. Let's go.
Yeah, but then you got to look at it too. Can the Yankees really afford all of those guys that you mentioned?
Yes.
And a DJ LeMahieu, all on the same roster. Then they go above the luxury tax again, which they're trying to stay under.
They don't care. They have the money, Danielle.
It's enough. Now, do we have some listeners who are like, I can't believe these guys are bringing on this woman and, they're going after her. What do you think happens? Audience, what do you think happens when you hear something like that? Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry. As you said, audience, I was like waiting for them. No, I mean, I think this actually reminds me of something that just happened last week with the NBA, where there was a report. Chris Haynes had a report that in the bubble, when the players were threatening to strike and end the postseason, there was a report that came out that said Patrick Beverley had been particularly rude to Michelle Roberts, who works for the union, who handles the financials for the union. And he said, we pay your salary, shut up. And that there was a back and forth, and everyone jumped on that, at least on Twitter, and a lot of people in the sports media world jumped on that to say, well, would he have talked to her like that if she wasn't a woman? He shouldn't have talked to her like that. And I think it was just people don't like Patrick Beverley. Right. So they used that as, well, he wouldn't have said that if she wasn't a woman. They disregarded that in that moment. There was a tense negotiation, probably one of the most tense negotiations almost any of these players or business people had been in, where they almost walked out of the postseason. So similarly, Cofield, I think if someone listens to that audio or audio of you guys arguing and getting tense and heated with a female on the show, well, if they're a little bit predisposed to not like you, or if they're looking for ammo to be a hater for Cofield and company, boom, it's right there. But I don't know if I'd call it soft. I just think people cherry pick that a lot nowadays. I think they might cherry pick that. And it's like, well, I don't think Patrick Beverley.
Uh-oh. We got frozen Alex. He's losing it. He lost it. I think he's got to come back in. Let's see. What do you mean by this, Ron Carl? Did she mention the Yankee cap situation? What does that mean? What, luxury tax? Yeah, I think at some point I thought she did there. I don't know. I listened to a longer clip. Yeah, she said it, and my response is, who cares? They have more than enough money to go over the threshold, and they put themselves into position to be over the threshold by handing out shitty contracts. I don't want to hear it at all. Let's see. Cofield is just a loud guy with a point. Spend the dough. Because at some point, when even Yankee fans are like, oh, we got to be under control, and we've got to watch the budget. No, you don't. These kids were handed a team that's worth $5 billion. Spend the goddamn money. Yep. Is it over? Is that it? Is it over? Is he in some crevice somewhere? Dropping to hell? Burning in some inferno? No, I think she does understand they have unlimited resources. But what happens, Ryan says, it was a joke because she didn't seem to understand the Yankees have unlimited resources. No, every fan in every market, whether it's the Pirates or the Rays or the Yankees, Red Sox, White Sox, Phillies, Cubs, I can name all the evil empires. They are programmed to believe that there's some limit to what the payroll can be, and there's really not. There's not. That's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, and Ray has a point here. If you can pay for Stanton, you can buy a bullpen. And guess what? If Stanton sucks and he's not up to value, then you bite the bullet and you still get a bullpen. There's no tolerance for this nonsense in Philly and Boston and New York and Chicago. There's too much of it in LA, and that's why I rolled in the Dodgers. And Candy was talking about it too. I mean, all these prospects are great. No one's going to remember if the Dodgers continue to have a payroll $250, $300, $325 million, and they don't win for the next 10 years. No one's going to give a shit if they were, fiscally responsible or they held on to this prospect. I mean, listen, there are some key guys. I guess you'd lament it if Bellinger had been traded for some schlub, but I think in every case in baseball history, if you trade away someone and the person that comes back helps you win a World Series, then you just swallow it, man. If you gave up a great 15-year player, too bad. You got a World Series. The Dodgers, if they go another 10 years without a World Series, they will be pushing 50 freaking years. All right. 20 more years. I did the math wrong, but you get my point. They've gone 32 years now, 31 and a half years, whatever it is, without a title. That's inexcusable when you spend that much money. So John Carvelli says, I listened today. Maybe I'm wrong, but she sounded like she was having fun with the debate. Believe me, if I brought this up with Danielle and I was like, hey, did I yell at you too much? She'd be like, screw off, dude. What do you mean, did you yell at me too much? That's the way it goes. And this is correct, too. The Dodgers and the Yankees, Rick, always have an overhyped prospect in the system, if only to trade. They have a bunch. They have a bunch. So, all right. No, CJ Cards fan saying it's just Cofield night now. Alex is here. McKinnell's coming up. Can I play?
I'm back.
Yeah, I see.
Am I here?
Yeah, I see. You're in there. Yeah.
Cool.
Can I, before we get into the nitty gritty, can I roll out what I thought was the video of the day? I don't even know when these are happening because they're happening so often. It's these bizarro speeches by our president. Well, it's by our president. Did you see the? Did you see the soup can?
No.
You didn't.
No, I didn't see the soup can.
Get my download here.
I know what you mean though, because I see clips all the time or speeches, and I don't
know when he did this. Like,
when
how does
these
he
happen?
to make all these like crazy minute speeches that people pull, and you're like, what did he topped yesterday's?
No, I know. I'm like, the subject matter is always bizarre to me. I'm like, wait, what? Like a soup can, or like, did you see the one yesterday about the people on the plane?
Yes, that's what I mean. He had the people on the plane thing. I don't even remember what. You know what it is too. If he was a normal politician, normal president, normal leader, like you'd get like one of those like every 6 months and be like hardy har har. Like I'm gonna remember that for a long time. But he just machine guns it at you.
No,
that's get a barrage every day, and I'm like, wait, that's right. The one yesterday was the strange plane full of thugs that was traveling somewhere and. They're dangerous.
The plane. We can't tell you where it was coming from. They were in black. I'm like, what does that mean? They were in black.
Who was doing the interview? Was it Laura Ingraham? Was it Megyn Kelly? I can't remember. And they were like, what? Like, wait, where are they going? What do you mean? And he's like, I'll tell you at another time. Like, what do you mean you'll tell me at another time?
And it's like, okay, cool. So which news source is gonna break this? Because that would be. Now imagine if that was real. It's obviously not. It's obviously like fan fiction. It's like right-wing militia fan fiction. Imagine if that was real. There'd be a report somewhere. Like that would be a huge story. Oh, we intercepted a private jet with a domestic terrorist. But that's not. And we're going to forget about it by tomorrow. That's the problem.
It's the craziest story of the year, except that like the crazy story of the year is every day for him.
Yeah, I mean, bold strategy. It seems to be paying off because we can't keep up.
You just get overwhelmed.
And what's like the sports equivalent of that? Just like I don't even. I don't know what.
There's never been anything like this. What do you mean the equivalent?
Yeah,
this is groundbreaking every day.
But then we're numb to it. We're numb to it now.
And believe me, as we've said, the other guy ain't a prize. Like, they're afraid to even bring him out because for fear of what the F he's going to say.
It's so
like they're like, Joe, do you see Trump? That's basically you with just different stories and words. Don't do that. Just
don't do
shut
that.
up. We'll bring you out every week. We'll write a bunch of tweets. You can do like 2-minute hits. Don't be that. Okay. You're both the same, obviously much different policies and beliefs, but in the end, they're both in front of a camera. You're like, I don't know what's going on here. Here's and I love soup. So I really got into this video. I love freaking soup.
It's water. And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? Yes, and then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup for my family. They're so innocent. This is soup for my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it, and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family.
Okay. Let's start again because it just as it goes along. Wait, they're really after they chuck soup at the police. They actually will tell the story. What, like it slipped out of my hand? I was actually pouring it into a pot. It was for my family. Well, but how did it hit me in the head? So this is our president. He's awesome with these stories. I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I can't yell and scream anymore because you just watch and you're like, what is happening?
And then they have cans of soup.
Okay.
Soup. And they throw the cans of soup.
He is brilliant. He is a brilliant orator because he does speak to the most basic instincts of us. Like once he gets on the 3 or 4 points, he just repeats them over and over again. It's just like soup, can of soup, the soup.
That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy.
Does he have something there? I've never thought about this.
Dude, I don't think that's true. Like, I think
you really can't throw a brick very far. So he is a stable genius. When he's coming up with weapons to throw, this is pretty good. I would say
soup does make sense.
Better than a brick. Yeah.
I mean, like, this is one of those, I feel like a lot of the things our president says are like urban legends. Like they are a version of the truth. Like someone somewhere probably threw a can of soup at a cop.
Right.
And now it's turned into they take the bags, the anarchists, the soup, the can, they throw it.
It's an army with soup. They don't need weapons.
Exactly.
God,
it's
where the law enforcement is at a disadvantage now with their high-powered rifles. They are at a disadvantage. They don't have soup. We can't fund the soup. These armies of soup throwers are overwhelming us. Please.
But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say,
right. He says, right. Like,
No, but he needs the affirmation, so you got to listen closely here.
No, I hear that.
Listen again.
Too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And
then, the guy in the background. Yes, sir. What if he did what if he just greeted him with silence and he was like, what?
Yeah, like
not silence because it's so silly you can't greet him with silence.
Yes, sir. I've thrown soup in my day. I've thrown a can of soup.
And when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup for my family. They're so innocent. This is soup for my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup.
I don't know what's happening. Because at first I thought he was going to suggest it's just the hot soup in a bag, but he's talking about bags of cans of soup.
Well, it paints this like almost Norman Rockwell-esque picture of the soup for my family, like these poor begging people with like burlap sacks of soup. It's just, and what like janky, like what's he speaking at here? Like it's like he's always at some random thing. NAPO.
Can someone look up? Can someone look up Napo? Yeah, look up Napo. And I'm saying Napo. Napo. It's not Imus. Napo. All right, let's keep going. We have a lot of good comments, so keep. Oh, okay. National Association of Police Officers. I wouldn't have thought that.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was always familiar with the PBA.
Yeah, I was aware of the PBA.
And trying to get a PBA card. I'm going to do this whole podcast like President Trump. Just going to repeat everything over and over again. I've only got like 14 key phrases. Key phrases. 14 phrases.
It's so bizarre, man.
They're key. All right, let's finish it up.
And they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it, and they start throwing it at our cops.
Okay, so the bag of soup people are actually bringing the artillery to the anarchists. They're not actually throwing the soup cans.
They're bringing it to there's a supply chain.
Supply chain.
Our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force.
Now, I will agree on this. If people are throwing cans of soup at the police, that it is pretty vicious. I understand everyone's got their reasons. I don't know what's being sent back their way, but it can do damage. Someone asked earlier, how far do I think I could throw a can of soup? What do you think? How far could you throw a can of soup?
I would like to know now. Now I kind of want to go throw one.
Go on a football field. Imagine you're on a football field. Do you think you could throw a can of soup 40 yards?
I was going to say, but around 35, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know now.
Ryan, Carl, you come from a very athletic family. Your brother brags about his exploits all the time. How far can you throw a can of soup? Renee is saying 35 to 40 yards.
Sounds about right.
I'm not sure, man. If you're not throwing all the time, you'd be surprised.
We'll never know.
Now, here's the question. What is the most effective can of soup? Vegetable beef. Now, keep in mind, the can is not open. Effective what? For distance or damage? Because the first thing I thought of was some sort of condensed soup that's very solid. So what about cream of chicken?
Yeah, okay. I was thinking like a heavy split pea.
Yes, a split pea.
Like a dense soup. The compacted soup that caused damage. See, no, I know what happened. It's like one person, one time somewhere threw soup somewhere. And it gets spun into this story of like the soup must be stopped. That's what this is. That is the format. And the cops there at the National Police Organization convention are like, yes, sir. We've seen the soup. We've experienced it.
We're just gonna call. Oh, that's right. Damon Jones got the soup. That's right. Incident around the NBA.
That's right.
It turned out to be that was a whole. We can't go down that path because we're inside the can. We're inside the can. In that case, that was soup in a bowl. What could do the most damage? And I thought, as it turned out, because we didn't find out for a year. Because on this show, like on Cofield and Company 2 years ago, we heard about the soup being thrown. And immediately Adam's like, who cares about anything else but what kind of soup it is? We didn't find out for a year. I think it turned out to be tortilla soup. Yes, Lakers Unfiltered all over it. Tortilla soup.
What was that? What were the details on that, too?
It was soup. It was tortilla. And David Jones threw it. I'm not answering any questions. Whatever I know, I'm repeating over and over again.
Okay.
Get ready. You're going to have to be the fact finder.
Are you actually going to do the show Trumpish?
No, but I should.
Don't do it, Cofield.
I would step in it less often. I just mispronounced. I see like I can't speak now. See? Now I'm in Trump.
I don't know how to talk.
I can only speak Trumpian. Brady Barons with a Josh Allen joke. Not necessary at all.
I drafted Josh Allen in my fantasy league tonight.
Oh, come on now. Don't open that. Don't open that hole.
What are you? Are you in Bills Mafia?
No, I want to stay focused.
Okay.
Josh Allen can become, is chili a soup? I mean, that's a whole different question. Chili in a can.
Ooh.
It's heavy, though. That's a heavy can.
Chili's a soup. I think chili's a soup. You eat it like a soup. It's usually on the soup section at a menu, right?
Let's finish this up. And our chief anarchist is actually in the room. Ryan McKinnell,
our chief anarchist,
our top anarchist. What's up, McKinnell? This is the video of the day. It's taken us about 15 minutes to get through 25 seconds. We can't get through it.
Yeah, I love that my brand is Chief Anarchist. That's outstanding.
We are going to arrest the leader of Antifa. We're going to arrest the leader of BLM. We're going to arrest the leader of the soup throwers, and we already have the leader in the room of the anarchist. And he is the chief anarchist.
You know,
Ryan
Rex Chapman asked me this earlier today, and it's been sticking with me all day. Who can't throw a brick? It's like everyone can throw a brick. My grandma had what?
Let him go. Let him go. Let him finish, and we'll hear about your grandma.
But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that.
We're all
and then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup from my family." They're so innocent. This is soup. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it in the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force.
Yeah.
And when they get caught, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent people. These are just protesters. Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? No. And by the way, the media knows it better than we do. They know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're doing our country a trip.
They are. The media has known about the soup throwers forever, and we just refuse to report it.
Dude, what is he saying, man?
If I was in an aspiring band, Soup for My Family would absolutely be our name. Like, not even... I've always said Terrible Tamarins was the greatest band name you could ever have, and you can make tamarind merch. I mean, who doesn't love, like, cool-looking monkeys? Like, I feel like it would sell like hotcakes. Anyway, bad business ideas aside, yeah. Wow, he's special, man. He's a special guy. I go back to who can't throw a brick, right? That sticks with me. And what I was going to say about my grandma, she had like a brain tumor back in like the early 90s. She was like, I don't know, early 70s. Like a few months after she got her head shaved and she had the tumor out, she was out in the front yard like throwing the baseball with me. Like she could throw a brick. Like, I'm just saying, like an elderly woman who's coming off brain surgery could definitely throw a brick. Like, I don't even, clearly we all know people can throw a brick. Like everyone can throw a brick. It's just that, and I don't know why I'm focused on this. In his brain, people can't throw bricks. Like he thought that was an acceptable thing to say. Guys, what do you want? Yeah. Well, that's about great, Cofield. I love that visual.
I mean, yeah, you can throw a brick. Like you can throw a brick.
Yeah, everyone can throw a brick. Yeah.
You can also
shooting toilet paper.
I do think that you could throw a soup can further than a brick.
Like aerodynamically speaking, like it fits in the palm of your hand. You get a good like roll.
He is right. I don't think he's saying people can't throw bricks at all. A soup can is much. It's that he is the stable genius. He's come up with something here. A soup can be a hell of a projectile.
Yeah, I think I do need to give credit where credit is due. If I was running down, my cabinetry and what would be effective in a mild assault, a soup can would certainly be up there. You could put a soup can in a sock, maybe Cofield, like a sturdy winter wool sock, and you could swing it around and bust someone over the head with it. You know what? Maybe we're giving Trump a hard time. Maybe there is cause for concern with the soup army out there.
Did you guys discuss it at the Antifa meeting tonight?
Yeah, the leader of Antifa. I got to kick out.
Not Antifa. He's anarchist. He's chief anarchist. I didn't say
my bad.
Antifa.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I gladly rep Antifa. I mean, there's no organizational structure. It's just people who want to go out and punch, white nationalists in the face. I don't have a problem with that. I'd like to think myself and all my friends are Antifa. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Yeah, I'm down with it. I'm about that life.
You missed the question earlier on football. Big Mac on a football field. How far can you throw a can of soup?
I'm always bad at that stuff. I always overestimate or underestimate. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe 30 yards. Maybe 20. I don't know.
I'd feel comfortable saying 20. I'd like to think I could get 30. You know?
Yeah, I actually have no idea now. I'm thinking maybe it is more like 20. Like I don't throw stuff that often.
I don't. Yeah, well, it's like you ever do
turn yourself down, buddy.
Sorry.
You ever do the like, oh, I can kick a field goal, or I can 10-yard, 15-yard field. You can't kick a field goal. You ever try to kick like a 15-yard field goal? It's hard. It's
really
not
hard.
easy.
It's really hard. I can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think though I could wing a Campbell's soup can pretty far. I've thrown a lot of stuff, a lot of things over my juvenile delinquent years. Luckily, I'm an upstanding member of society now, but I used to love to huck stuff at expensive stuff. I mean, that's what you do in Indiana. You don't have a lot to do growing up in Indiana. Bless everyone who grew up in a city with things to do. It was either that or run around and be racist.
Well, I'm glad you picked the hucking.
Yep.
Hey, Gil, I think other people are asking this one. Antifa seems to attack law-abiding police officers from all the videos I've seen. Send us some links to pictures where it clearly says Antifa on their uniform. Their leader is in the back. That's my whole point. There's no organized Antifa.
No.
There's not. So
no, there's not. I don't even think there's a Facebook group. It's just when there's people out there, and listen, you definitely have outside agitators. You have anarchists. You have people that are looking to incite. And in some cases, it's on all sides, right? And I don't mean like there's good sides on all sides. I mean there are forces at play that
people who want to go to the violent extremes to further their cause, and they can be on both sides of the political spectrum. So,
well, there's just people. Oh, go ahead, Big Mac. Finish.
I think we're same in line. We're going to go with in terms of Antifa and having no organizational structure. It's just, I think in my mind, or at least in my heart, I see it as good people seeing a problem and a little too much silence going on, and these people are trying to meet the problem where the rubber meets the road. And I'm more concerned about Charlottesville and the Jews will not replace us, and KKK marching freely, and a lot of the rhetoric you're hearing out of certain people. It's dangerous, and people need to also counter that in some way other than just like holding up a sign. And I mean, you have to show that you're serious on some level, and protest to an extent. They do what they need to do, but at the same time, again, you need to be more authoritative. And when people are strapped out there with AR-15s and rolling through the streets, I mean, it's crazy times, guys. We all know this. You see the images. It's extreme on both sides. So sometimes there is no middle ground.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Let's talk about what happened around college football today, and that was President Trump. Which, there are positives to getting Big Ten football up and running if they can do it safely. There are a lot of cities that economies are going to be crushed in the Midwest without football, so I can see the benefit of that. I think I know the reasons why the Big Ten is the focus and the Pac-12 is not. What do you guys think of this? Is this going to bring back Big Ten football? Is the goal to really bring back Big Ten football, or is the Big Ten being used as a political football, pun intended, and our president can win either way, right? If Big Ten comes back in October, yay, I did it. If it doesn't, then they wouldn't let it come back. Is it more than that?
It's 100% political football. Like, sure, Trump made a call and talked to the Big Ten commish. I believe that. I'm sure he did. But one, I think it's obvious, like it's so obvious that it's a political ploy, that it's trying to get football back in swing states. And then number two, it is a win-win. And it saddens me to know that people will have the wool pulled over their eyes. And if football gets brought back in October, they'll say, wow, Trump made this happen, because they want to believe that. But if football gets brought back in October, it's not because Trump made a call today. It's because the university presidents made a decision. They figured something out. Maybe testing changed. Maybe something else changed. But Trump will take credit if it does go back. And if he doesn't, he'll blame someone. Like, we know the playbook. And so, yeah, it's a political play, 100%.
Isn't it on some level, though? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. It is beyond respectable political maneuvering. Like, the way that dude and his team is able to read the room and pick up on things and details, or I guess the proverbial pulse of the country that other people aren't feeling. And that can apply to calling Mexicans rapists, or it can apply to trying to save a football season, right? He knows, especially right now, as we're 6 months into a pandemic, and maybe I'm giving too much credit to the guy who said, who throws bricks? Maybe it's not him, but his team. They're intelligent enough to know that in 2020, 6 months into a pandemic, and you know what? Damn the 2020 and 6 months into a pandemic. Let's just take that outside and kind of remove it from the equation, right? There are very few things people in this country care about more than football. And there are, when you talk about the Midwest and you talk about the South, even less in terms of things that they actually care about, right? So if you were going to politically maneuver something to get people on your side, to get emotions stirred up, to make people, as we talk about, everything's a side in sports radio. Everyone's got to have a gimmick. Everyone's got to have a take, right? Well, that applies to the political spectrum. That's why every election is 50-50, and the vote is determined by the Electoral College, right? And it's 2 million in favor of one side, but the other guy is president, right? We are 50-50 on everything. And using football as a proverbial chess piece, the king, the queen on your board, it's genius for a guy that is anything but it's a perfect play for 2020 America, and it might work.
Yeah, I think to your point, Big Mac, I think the right wing does politics a lot better than the left wing. We see it time and time again. Okay, you've got Trump for 4 years. Come up with a plan. You run out a guy who's like a Trump light, just in terms of his speech, like we were just talking about Cofield, his speech and his mannerisms and his age and his vibe. That's what you run out. You bring out Joe Biden. You had 4 years, and Trump's team, his team just seems to always be one step ahead on these moves. And the way they package thing appeals to the most tribal nature in all of us. And that's why they keep winning, or not keep winning, but they keep moving the needle.
Yeah, it's like Biden's team essentially is sitting there like, oh well, that's not going to appeal to them. They keep thinking. I don't want to see they keep thinking better of Americans. I think generally in politics, everyone in politics is like, okay, we're pandering to absolute morons, right? And they are. But that team over there is willing to slum it and willing to take it to places that even Springer in 93 never would have thought possible. Like, we are living reality TV, hilarity on a daily basis that, the sad thing is it's so ridiculous. It's past parody. We're past idiocracy. We're past a really good SNL skit. We're living it, and it's having dire ramifications on our world. We're 6 months into a pandemic. And it's no real end in sight. And it's all getting politicized. Football, Big Ten, is now getting politicized. I really hope we get to the story. Here's a tease. I think coming up in the next hour, we got a story about a jetpack flying around LAX, like a dude in a jetpack. Yes. Yep. Let's go.
It's on my TV right now. It's on my TV right now.
That's awesome. God bless this year. But also screw this year.
It's everything. It's everything and it's nothing.
Exactly.
What do you think, Cofield?
I think it's clear what he's doing. The way I set it up, I think he wins no matter what. So if football comes back, then he saved it. If it doesn't, then he's got another, Antifa-like enemy. You set up all of these enemies of the people, and you just have talking points, and you keep listing them. So the next enemy will be in this case, it would be the liberals who, they're using football.
They cancel football.
They're using football for politics. Meanwhile, that's what you were doing, but the way it's packaged is brilliant. Now, I think we can get worked up about this, but frankly, there's a lot of times when I get worked up about what's going on with politics, and I'm like, why am I buying into this? I'm just getting played. It's just I'm screaming and yelling, and that's exactly what they want to do. And yet the other party is like, I can't just ignore it because it is serious. The real ploy here is Big Ten football could start with the help of President Trump, because the feds are going to have a stockpile of this cheap, quick saliva test for coronavirus, right? So now you start thinking, wait, why would Big Ten country and those schools get this easy saliva test? And I did a whole rant today in the 5 o'clock hour. It was like, if there's a big stockpile of this, I love football, but how about the Big Ten doesn't get it? The Big Ten made its decision. Stick with it. Wait until January. How about places like Las Vegas that are dying? Like, our businesses are going under people are getting laid off left and right. How about we get the test? How about we open industry? Don't worry about football. Did I buy into the whole bit by ranting and raving about that and being like, I love Vegas. I want the test. Don't worry about football. Come on.
I mean, it's. Oh, you getting my echo there?
We're good. We're good on our end.
No, it's just like all this effort to even bring pro sports back, which are awesome. I'm loving it. I watched NBA tonight. I'm watching baseball. It's been great. But all this effort and these tests to bring that back and everything being done to bring college football back and to try to bring sports back while you guys are sitting there, and I know we're going to talk about this, our economies, our local economies, our favorite local businesses are going under. Dive bars in my community that I like to frequent are closing their doors for good. They'll never reopen, and I don't know if anything will replace them. But instead of figuring that out, everywhere from our state governments to our federal government, instead of figuring that out, we're worried more about this superfluous stuff that doesn't matter. So I'm with you, Cofield. That's not answering your question about are you buying into the craziness and the hysteria or not?
Well, I am buying it. If it's true that he's using the upcoming stockpile of saliva test as leverage, I think that is something to get worked up over, at least as a Las Vegan. Because I'm sure there's plenty of examples of, and I know there are towns that are built around, one factory or an industry. And I don't know, is Las Vegas on its way? Like 15 years from now, are we going to look back and go, Vegas essentially suffered the same fate as Detroit and the automakers? Like once the automakers started to fall apart, the whole city went under. Like once our casinos go under, because we don't really have a diversified economy, like if we don't get help soon, is this place just going to crumble to the ground? There's casinos all over the country now, Big Mac. Why would people come here?
Steve.
Money,
Yeah, no, it could be much, much worse than Detroit. I spent a decent amount in Detroit. Saw some shows there, messed around up there. From South Bend originally. You move away from Detroit, you're moving back to your in-laws or somewhere. You know what I mean? You leave the town, but you find work relatively close. Cleveland, Indianapolis, Chicago, South Bend, Gary, East Chicago, whatever the case may be, Fort Wayne. You move. We're in the middle of a desert, and our two closest cities are Phoenix and Los Angeles. It's not like you're going to Ma and Pa Central and finding a job as a welder somewhere. You came here to build something, and you took a chance. And in the flip side of that, and again, you're removed from everything. It's not this like communal, close sort of living. It's desolate. It's alone. And the majority of the time, you're treated like America's playground. So, like, if you want to use us and you want us to accept you as the drunken, puking in trash cans, clowns that you are, so do something. Do something. I'm not saying stimulus. I'm not saying, test. Yes, all that's great. But how about we just start at base level rooting for us not to fail? Because I've seen some shit like that on the internet from, comment sections from our tourism board where people were like, well, shouldn't have been gambling and drinking and smoking. We're nicknamed Sin City. There have been a lot of people, a lot of religious people, a lot of people on the right, whatever the case may be, that have been rooting for this city to fail for a long time. And right when shit was getting really, really good, and it was getting really, really good. Golden Knights killing it. National stage. Residencies blowing up. People getting hundreds of $1 millions. New casinos still going up. Downtown blowing up. The Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. The Raiders. Al Davis's baby coming here in a multi-billion-dollar stadium. And then boom, this. Which, guys, I'm not being doom and gloom. It's why I talked about it on my show. It's why I talk about it on the happy hours. It's why I talk about it on social media. These things need to be talked about. Just like 5 years ago, things need to be talked about. But no one wanted to talk about things. So now we're living these consequences. And if we don't talk about them now, there will be consequences. You have to speak up. And Cofield, you did it when you were talking about, hey, should we be spending this much money of our own public money on this stadium? Well, shit. That was a really good question to be asking in hindsight. Stuff matters. Sports matter. They just don't always matter in the way that the listeners and you out there think they do.
So explain to me as a Vegas outsider, like what's going on? Because I'm seeing businesses here in Southern California close, and I'm seeing people calling for aid, some kind of aid somewhere from the feds or from the state or for it's the whole. I mean, everything's fucked at multiple levels. But what's specifically going on in Vegas that like is Vegas getting it worse than elsewhere?
Yes. Yeah, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Our main industry is virtually shut down. I mean, are we at 30% of the casinos open up all around the market? And then in the casinos, we're talking about 20 and 30% occupancy. The bars aren't open. I think they're going to open. My guess is, and we keep guessing at this, that Labor Day weekend or right after. So that'll help. But how much damage has been done? People around the country don't have disposable income like they had. Our main industry is at, who knows, man, 20% of its norm right now. So, we're getting fucking crushed. As LV Pickle says, no international tourism, because right now, I mean, we're the scourge of the earth. People here don't want to believe that, but how do you think they look at the U.S.? And I'll give you the other one, and Adam Candy was on today, and we got – this is another great discussion, right? Kind of sports-related, but really not. We were talking about the monorail being taken over by the LVCVA and – like what the purpose is. And then Candy got to like the big point of reality. We just built out the convention center for over $1 billion. Are there going to be conventions? Is that ever? Yeah, but is it going to come back? Because what's happened in the 6 months, people are like, yeah, we can do everything and not leave home. We can have 50 fucking people in a Zoom. Like that's the second part that might kill us. You can't gamble or you're not inclined to gamble. And now you don't want to come here to go in our beautiful new convention center. It's like, holy crap. You know, two of our biggest things may not be that big 3 years from now. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's cause and effect. You know, choices have consequences, and we're living them. Our choices to not recognize this in January and February and have certain leadership to acknowledge the oncoming storm, where we saw it in Iran, we saw it in Italy, we saw it start in Wuhan, we watched it work itself here, and we did nothing. Yep. And it's just the reality, right? And yes, things will come back. Yes, Vegas will exist in some space. What is that space? It's anyone's guess. I might not be, right, the best person to ask that question to, or I might be. I have no idea. I just know I'm going to tell you my truth. And my truth is I'm looking at options. I've been here 13 years. I've been coming here since 1986. I remember when Excalibur was giving out turkey legs. I remember when Circus Circus still had trapeze artists. I'm not old school. I know there's people out there
with the turkey legs.
Right? I remember buffets. No. But I'm just saying, I love this city with all my heart. I really do, right? But
how far we fallen? By the way, I just want to jump in a couple of comments. Some are optimistic. Rick was trying to give us some numbers, and I guess it's mostly for June, and it has been shut down a little more since June. I mean, no one's going to argue that. He was saying 2/3 of the casinos open with 40% occupancy in June, 52 on the weekends, 32 on the weekdays. But the fall will kill that weekday number. So we're a long way from coming back. LV Pickle throws in, we've got no entertainment right now. That's a big deal because we as a city we were starting to transition to entertainment, clubs, restaurants, trying to get more well-rounded. But it's like everything is closed. Everything is hitting. So and as Ryan Carhill points out, can't pin this all on the shutdowns. People with disposable income don't want to travel. Is that true? Isn't travel one of the number one options for people who do have money? Was that slowing down coming into this year? Did I miss that?
Steve, I think it's like, I don't know, man. I can't speak for the ultra rich.
I feel like he was talking about wealthy people. I feel like in a lot of ways at the middle class level, like, man, that's a lot of what you got as your like one fun option is to go on, a trip near or far once or twice a year. I mean, McKinnell fucking loves travel. If he can do it.
Yeah, it's been a while, but one thing I like to do is get away from the casinos and go to Washington, go to Yellowstone. I like to go camp and go out in nature, right? I'm seeing that a lot from my friends back home, back in Indiana, and kids that I grew up with. Kids, we're all old now. But you get what I'm saying. They're all kind of transitioning more to outdoor activities. And they were I guess they were that way in general, but a lot of them came to Vegas. A lot of them went, to a lot of different places and love to travel. So I do think there is some truth to that. And also Steve, you brought up the point a little while ago in terms of all these local regions now having casinos, and that's very true. I'm not saying that, Vegas won't have its place, because it absolutely will, but Vegas does exist in a vacuum in some cases. And if you can go out and quote unquote get your fix, but have that Vegas experience locally, yeah, it sucks that you can't be in Vegas. Everybody wants to be in Vegas, but I think it's one of these things that in COVID, the general Americans are kind of like, hey, I could probably do without it. My mom would come to Vegas 4, 5, 6 times a year. No one misses it more than her, but she's into her 70s and she's not going to die. And she's a Trump supporter, but thank God she's not dumb enough to think this thing isn't real. You know what I mean? I thank God every day that she's taking this seriously, because she's in Indiana and I can't do anything for her. So I just, it's wild times, guys. And I'll say this, and Alex, I'll throw it at you. Vegas is a town that is built inherently on hard asses that just have in their spirit to survive. Because if you last here more than 5, 6, 7 years and it's 115 and you can't get any good seafood and the fruit sucks. No, I'm just kidding. But there's like a lot of allergies. Like, it's a hard place to live. So it will survive. It's just the question is in what capacity. I made jokes before we got the Raiders that they were never going to let us go dry during the upcoming water wars because we got an NFL team. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to think since we got an NFL team, we're going to be protected. And American politics and industry and corporations will never let a blossoming city with an NFL team die. That's all I can hold on to.
What if Jerry Jones dies? Does that end all of it?
Oh no.
Is he the linchpin?
Very possible.
Is he the one who's always going to have our backs? Because he can sneak off with his fun pass, get crazy here. He's got a
oh God.
Stadium. If Jarrah passes away, the rest of the league, like, fuck that guy. We didn't want to go to Vegas anyway. Let's pull the plug on this thing.
Can we talk about roast beef gate? Can we talk about the roast beef incident? It seems on point. It seems on point.
Do we have enough time left? We only have 35 minutes left in the show. I don't know if that's going to cut it.
I want to, but I want you to hit on it is topical, but I know. But I forgot to I want to get the tweet. I want to clip it so everyone can see it better. What was the story about LAX? Get to that one first.
Oh, I mean, the story is pretty straightforward. Multiple airplanes.
It's Tony Stark.
Multiple airplanes reported this evening that a man, they were either coming in or departing from LAX, and a man on a jetpack at 3,000 feet was passing them in the air. They were passing him. They said they radioed into the tower to say, we see a man with a jetpack. Please be advised. And this wasn't just one plane seeing a UFO. There's multiple planes phoning into the tower. The FBI is investigating it apparently because you can't be flying in airspace without talking to the tower or following certain FAA regulations. So that's all we know. But multiple pilots confirmed that a man with a jetpack was zooming around. High, 3,000 feet is high.
It's really high.
That's really high.
Yeah, I'm really excited. This is completely on brand for 2020. I feel like it's real Tony Stark. I feel like Elon Musk. This had to be Elon Musk. That was my first thought. I was like, Elon Musk got his flamethrowers. He's got his jetpack. He's this rich billionaire going out and doing crazy shit. Let's go. I want other jetpacks. I want like super villains. I want superheroes, and I want to see crazy rich people fight in the sky. Like, let's just get super weird. I'm locked up anyway.
All these mega wealthy people are obsessed with like this jetpack going to space bullshit. We need to figure out our stuff here on the ground. Like, there's so much that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these people could be doing for life on Earth, but they want to go to Mars. It is such a waste of time and resources.
Alex,
it is such a waste of time and resources.
You're kind of being a dick. I mean, let's be real. If you had $80 billion, don't tell me that you wouldn't try and make a fucking jetpack. Like, come on.
I wouldn't. I don't like heights. I don't want to go up solo 3,000 feet. I love public transportation. I would want LA and SoCal.
I was going to say, you live in Southern California. You're like,
I know.
Place to live.
I know. I crave it, man. I would love a robust public transit light rail system here. That's what would get me going. That's what gets me hard. All right.
Can we expand on public transit? Because I was a Midwest kid, never rode it. But like one of the first times I went to San Francisco, I ended up having a conversation with a crackhead in a Santa costume on public transit. And they were wearing glasses, but it took me like 20 minutes to realize they weren't actual glasses. They were just those real 3D glasses from the movie theater. And the dude was just rocking like
they love those. They love those. They love those 3D glasses.
There was an endearing property about it. I don't know. It was an enlightening conversation for what it was. It was memorable. What do you love about public transit? What is it that grabbed you by the short and curly, so to speak?
A few things. I like not driving. I like public infrastructure. I like walking from where I live and getting on something and going. I like going from point A to point B. And I like the random interactions. I like
it's communal.
It's communal. It's important. I think that sort of cosmopolitan nature of it and those interactions with everywhere from the crazy homeless people to the office commuter to the diversity, I think that's important. Like, think about our immune systems, right? Like, we need to be exposed to different viruses and bacteria and whatnot to build a healthy immune system. When we get in our bubbles, which we're in more than ever, and our echo chambers online that we're in more than ever, what happens? 2020 happens, man. Donald Trump happens.
Herd immunity. Are we on a herd immunity tip here? Because
we need social herd immunity. We need social herd immunity.
All right.
If we had, and I'm not, because there are crazies that ride full on crazies. On public transit. Yeah. But there's also, at least I'm sure this happens elsewhere, but there is some light rail in LA. I don't take it currently, COVID. When I could, I tried to take it, and I was always impressed by the people selling stuff, the kind of hustlers on it. And there was one guy that'd walk up and down with a big rolling suitcase, and he'd unzip it, he'd open it, and he'd have different fifths of various alcohols for sale. And
great deals to be had on public transit.
Great deals to be had. Candy, water, soda, liquor, Bluetooth, shoelace. There was one guy, but there was I think there was a hierarchy of kind of maybe how long you were on the job that determined what you got to sell. Because one time I was coming in downtown LA earlier this year, like in January. This guy comes up to me, this Latino dude with a bunch of belts. And he's like, belts? And I'm like, what? He's like, you need a belt? I'm like, no, I'm actually good. He's like, okay, belts. And I'm like, that guy's new. That guy's new on the job.
I would buy a belt right now, and so would my wife. My wife just threw away her old belt. She showed it to me. It was like 7 years old. It is. I love this conversation. I had a conversation with the dude about ice cubes like a year ago and like the quality of ice, and it was really an enriching point in my life. I feel like you and I could talk about public transit for hours. London, my favorite public transit in the world.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I've heard nothing but
Dude, I took a water taxi. I took a taxi. I took a bus. I took something else. I took like 2 other forms of transportation, but taking a water taxi up to the O2 for a pro wrestling event, a WWE event, that was awesome. I don't know. Public transit's great. We need more public transit. I like this, Alex. Let's go.
And just to Rick Murr 77's point, I'm talking more about like a nice subway system than multiple bus trains. We've got buses in SoCal. We've got buses. I can get to LA on bus.
I'm talking about good public transit.
I'm talking about that streamlined shit. And that's what I want Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all those people to invest in instead of going to space. That's what I would like. And Elon's working on it. I know Elon's got the Hyperloop, right? You know I'm talking about, the tube thing?
Yeah, down under thing.
Under?
That thing? Yeah.
It's in LA. I guess it's in a house in Hawthorne and just like a normal single family middle-class home. You just it's the test version. You drive the car into the garage and then it goes under the ground and then you're on the thing. I think it's like a quarter-mile test track. So if we could get that going, maybe there's something there.
Hey, man. Capitalism, baby. Let's go. Pushing us forward. America.
So there were questions in the chat room earlier. We had issues last night with our stream going to Twitch, and I guess we're banned now for like 6 days on Twitch. We do. I like that. It's my fault. We somehow violated like adult content policy, which I think is pretty interesting. Aren't people like flashing all the time on Twitch? The kids. So who knows? I have no idea.
Children are flashing on Twitch.
I'm getting
way to go. And this is why we got banned from Twitch.
No.
Aren't the kids flashing themselves?
By children, I meant borderline. We're talking 16, 17, 18-year-old girls playing video games are exposing themselves. But whatever.
Does it make you want to pour holy water in your eyes?
And maybe this is the reason. Maybe this is the reason that we talk about Bang Bus and whatever else, whatever other smut we talk about every night. Last night, Allie was on the video and she was talking about traveling and saying, her boyfriend doesn't allow her to stop and pee often, so she has a pee funnel. So they stop really quick in the middle of nowhere, and she funnels out the pee. She's standing like she's got a weenie, and she pees away.
Man, dudes are such pervs though. Like, what's
up, Gary? We're talking about pee funnels, buddy. Stick around.
The three of us, the three of us could be talking about pee funnels all day, and people would be like, "Okay, guys, chill out. No one cares." You get like one female talking about the pee funnel, like girl, like anywhere from whatever on like hot girls DMs. If you look at like a hot girl's DMs on social media, it's just pervs all the time, nonstop. And I've been guilty. I've done some
the old, outside of Alex, the old white guy show and the sort of young guy from Orange County with like one female contributor, we got banned. Okay.
Well, you must have done something pervy.
Well, they don't give you an explanation. I was like, all right, on to the next platform. What's the difference? We'll be.
Wow. Back to the pee funnel. You guys ever see that Black Snake Moan movie with Christina Ricci where like Sam Jackson ties her to the I just feel like that there's some form of that going on, like some mental kidnapping. Allie, you shouldn't have to carry a funnel to pee in. I feel like there might be something else going on there.
You want me to show the picture to this audience if they didn't see it? And there's a picture. She's not naked.
What?
She's in her clothes she's got a funnel up next to her junk and she's peeing.
That's why you got banned.
This is what got you banned.
This is definitely what got you banned.
We don't know.
100%. A piss funnel up next to a vagina? Yeah, like I don't know. I'm not like the it's the
Cofield.
Imagery,
This is
man.
that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about the perversion of men on social. Like a girl posts a picture clothed with a pee funnel and says, "I pee in this," and dudes are like, "Oh yeah, that's sex. That's sexual,"
This is outrageous. This is not.
I'm disappointed.
We talk about a lot of dirty stuff.
Dudes are pervs,
I'm
man.
sure some guy got offended and reported us to Twitch, and they've got their whole sports radio deal. And that could also be there could be a grand conspiracy. They've got their whole sports radio deal on Twitch with Entercom, and they saw that we have 60 subscribers and we have 6 viewers a night on Twitch, and they're like, okay, we got to put a stop to this. It's all competition.
Don't want this getting out of hand.
We don't want to. I mean, they might actually get to 10 viewers a night. We're gonna pull this goddamn thing down.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that's what got you banned, bro.
Dude, that is absolutely what got you banned, and I'm insane.
Why?
Like I know that. Like, how did you not connect that? Like, how did you not go A to B?
Why?
What do you mean why? Because it's first of all, it's super weird. Like context, no context.
That is fetish. That is fetish porn.
Yeah. Alex, you talk about the creepy DMs. I do a satellite show with Misha Tate. You guys remember former UFC champ Misha Tate? And we used to do a segment on that show where we just would go through her worst DMs, and you would not believe some of the shit. It is. Nope.
Oh, it's crazy, dude. It's like, let me pee on you. It's stuff like that. It's like
it definitely.
You don't believe us, Cofield?
Steve, it's the internet. It definitely is. Brady's insane. So who gives you shit what Brady thinks? So this photo's PG. It's a woman pissing out of a funnel. Definitely not PG. You would not catch this on fucking Wall-E or like Frozen 2. You dumbass.
You can't show the pee, dude. People are into the pee. The pee is like, it's like
Alex is a deviant. Alex knows.
I know this stuff because I see it and I'm trying to avoid it, but I see it, okay? And I know you get in trouble for the pee. So take it down, Cofield. God damn it.
We're gonna get banned an extra day at Twitch.
Oh.
People pay for this, man.
There's no
you know about like selling feet pics, right? Like people, like girls sell feet pics all the time. Like
Ari,
their feet.
Wait, Ari, the rules are Junior. He said here are the guidelines. Ari, don't leave me. Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, breast, buttocks, pelvic region, including poses that deliberately highlight these elements. I think we're getting to piss. No. I think yes, we are. There's more to this. He's gasped. There's a pause. There should be a colon after elements. Or maybe not.
No, I think that's. Oh, sex toys could be a sex toy. P.
Yeah, that could
P.
definitely be
P.
considered a sex toy. Like people who are in to golden showers and urination videos, if you can get a funnel, it streamlines the process. Polly, don't bark. Stop it. Too old to be barking anyway. Yeah, so yeah, that's very deliberate.
Like to us, what is that? Oh, it's what's her name?
Allie.
Allie. Oh, it's Allie showing her pee funnel. We know the context. It's a funny story, but to other people, probably some of our viewers and listeners here in this chat, to other people, that's X-rated stuff. That's a major turn on.
Ew.
This is sort of
The way you
highlighting.
said it.
This is sort of highlighting the pelvic region. Sort of.
Yeah.
Strong
and
lean on sort of.
it's actual pee, you guys.
Yeah,
Polly,
you can't
come
shoot the
here
pee.
and stop barking. Maniac. Sorry, guys.
Like you could make a jerk off motion, but you couldn't show.
All right. Okay.
You made
This
a
I
was
face
wasn't.
at that.
fun.
I wasn't. By the way, I wasn't fighting it. I wasn't complaining about it. So it's. We're all good.
Cofield. I feel like Cofield's like almost a little naive. He's like, "Oh, what this pee fetish? Come on."
This girl pissing out of a funnel. I don't get what the big deal is. And the priest's like, yeah, it's PG. Okay, guys.
You
I
guys
make
haven't
true-
gone down
I make
dark
true
holes.
I'm a true radio person. I'm not going to freaking back down to these different ears and their pansy rules. Cut it out. Everyone's so sensitive.
Fuck yeah, Cofield.
All right. Do we want to get into local delegate?
Can we? I think
Been waiting
that
the
the
whole
show
show
is
for it.
best. I think the show's best when we talk about sliced meats or cured meats, and if we can get a McKinnell, a Big Mac rant out of it, and we can tie it into local business, the economy, and politics, that checks every box that this show's about.
By the way, should I answer this? Is this the first time I've been canceled?
Ooh,
It's not possible. Dana White canceled you like 10 years ago. I was around for that.
Yeah. I got
go.
banned from covering Dana White.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I've been canceled before.
Yeah, no, before this is fun.
And it was more damaging than anything UFC could do because it was money. It was money lost.
Alex,
wow.
I will tell you a fun story, and all the listeners out there. So before I
Most
actually
of
knew Cofield, I knew that you know who like Dana White's upset with, and like we in the MMA media space talk or whatever. And we joke with my buddies that like Dana White had a kill list, and he was going to go, and like Josh Gross was always at the top of that list. Josh is still at the top of that list. Like I feel like Josh is like the first journalist who's getting killed. But I
God
also
bless him.
feel
He's still doing it. He's still doing it.
I feel
I
like
was like,
Cofield.
that's enough. I got to move on.
Okay.
No, I'm just man. I made the
Oh.
decision. I'm just like I got to move on. This is too
Okay.
goddamn childish.
Yeah. So Josh was number one. Cofield was definitely top five. We've got a new guy, and Steve, you were talking to him today on Twitter. Trent Rainsmith,
Yeah,
the blogger. He's hit Dana's radar. He might be on the kill list.
Oh well, he'll have
Fun
a different. Josh will always be number one, and he'll have a different guy 15 years from now in a different.
I feel like every time I do this show and I learn, I think Cofield becomes a little bit more closer. Like you've got stories, Cofield. Like you've got war stories.
I've got a
You
lot.
go, I'm just saying I've always find out like new, nuanced story. There's stuff out there about you. I'm curious. I'd read your book is what I'm saying.
He's a curious fellow.
I don't know about a book, but you work in radio enough, and you deal with business, and you're in Vegas. There's a lot, and anyone who works in sports sees all this shit. So Dana White is not. I mean, he's got some uniqueness, but there are thousands and thousands of Dana Whites in the history of sports. Power brokers who have stories,
Ego, money,
Yep.
ego, and
Right?
money.
and have enemies, and battles, and it's part of sports. It's part of the workplace. It's part of anyone powerful going to have these things. Alrighty. Delaying. All right, this
Let's go.
I'm just going to show it to you, and then I can explain
Roast
later why.
beef gate.
I'm not really. I'm going to call it delegate, but so here's a tweet sent out, and they're complaining about basically the bill. That's what they were complaining about. So, do you want to tell the story here? What's your read on this?
Well,
We got a
Steve-
picture of the Bagel Cafe
Yeah.
empty, claiming that it's lunchtime, and the person puts out a bill, and you see, soup $10.25, roast beef sandwich $17.70, fountain drink And the person says, any guesses why Las Vegas locals joint Bagel Cafe is dead slow during lunch these days?
Yeah, I mean, my first response my first thought, I should say, when I saw that, and I did see that tweet, I did end up responding to it. My first response was, well, gee, I mean, I guess it would be the pandemic. And then I was informed that no, this place is actually fairly frequented during the pandemic. Like, business is good. So then my attention shifted to, okay, then what is happening here? Right? I thought it was like a statement on Vegas and the economy and how things were slow. And then when I read into it, it's like, no, this is a person, Bill, complaining about the price of his roast beef sandwich, and essentially saying that's why the place was empty. When in fact, Steve, I think you chimed in on this tweet and said, I was just there. It was busy. A couple other people did as well. And I kind of got up in my feelings about it because it just felt counterproductive, right? As we're in a time where there are a lot of businesses hurting. It looks like the Bagel Cafe necessarily isn't one of those. Okay, Card's saying that's a normal price for that place and go there all the time. I have a deli by me. I think you guys know it, Weiss. They do great business. I talk about it here and there. They have pretty high prices, right? But it looks like this was a price increase, right? This wasn't always the price. Now, I don't know. But that's under the assumption or the vibe that I was getting from this thread.
I'm guessing, because I don't get roast beef when I go there. I'm guessing that it was 15 or 16. So they raised it a couple of bucks. And I don't know. So I'll say it one time. The guy is he's a gambler, dude. He's on VSiN all the time. They like him for some reason. Bill Krackomberger. I grew up in New York and New Jersey, right? And delis, like, you can get a sandwich. You can get a sandwich for pretty cheap. But if you're talking like a stack sandwich at a deli, they're fucking expensive. Delis are expensive. They're also a dying breed, so they're trying to hang on. So I'm God almighty, I have a slicer. I'm buying friggin' hunks of meat from Walmart. So, like, this is my thing. I love delis. But the bigger thing is I will not, I'm not going to say tolerate, like, I rule Twitter. I don't like people going on social media and trying to shit on some business. Like, what's the purpose? What does that serve?
Yeah.
Who are you? We're dying as a town. People are unemployed. Like, think about what you're posting. My guess is there's an agenda here. Like, he doesn't like the owner. He had a bad experience with a server. So this is classic now in social media. Do you know who I am? I'm going to blow you up on Twitter. What sort of person does that make you when you do that? Now, think about it. If you're going after the place of business, do you think about the 50 people that they employ? The guy slicing the meat, making your bagels, pulling out the goddamn pastries. Like, what are you doing? What's the point? And then the amazing thing is there's all these idiots who jump on there and are like, oh, F that place. Oh, that's really expensive. Why don't they lower the prices in a pandemic? How about you leave town? If you're anti-Vegas and you're anti-local business, leave. Leave.
100%.
And here's the other part of this is, by the way, you don't have to leave. And you can express an opinion. And if you think a place is pricey, you can do it.
Well, but it is bullshit.
Just know what you're doing. You're killing.
You are affecting other people. 100%. And I also come from a world where I'm now trained in radio to the point where, for me, there's no point in bashing on places. Like, last week, we were talking about a bunch of different food places, and someone threw out a pizza place, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really a fan. But I didn't, like, elaborate to destroy the place, because what's the point? Because I might not like the owner or the policies there, or whatever it is. But, like, the person serving the pizza, pouring beer, whatever, like, they don't have any control. So what's the point? But it's people jumping on, and then it becomes this, like, ally thing, like, I like that guy, so I'm going to back him. And when you see people backing it who are also virtue signaling for months about the pandemic and we support local business, and then they jump in because they're pals with the dude, you're like, what are you doing? So this essentially means what you were saying 3 months ago is totally fake, because you pick and choose your spots when you're going to back local businesses or crush them. And I'll go one further. If you only back businesses locally that pay you or you have ties to, that's really wrong.
Cofield, I think you had the mic drop on Twitter. You said, what, lunch rush at 1:38?
Yeah.
The picture of the receipt tells the whole story. It's almost 2:00.
It's in between shifts there. And I can't remember if they have a decent dinner crowd. I usually go there for, weekends, middays, lunch. I don't know. I don't understand the purpose. I think there's a deeper story here that I don't know about.
There 100%. There has to be, unless he's doing that at every place that he's going out to at weird hours. Because I promise you, that's not the first empty place you've been out at. I haven't seen Allegiant Stadium even close to complete because I've barely left the house in 6 months. I'm not the only one. There's nowhere to go. Now, I am doing pickup from my deli a lot. I'm trying to give what I can to places that I want to see stay open. I'm in a rotation of about actually 2 different Greek spots, White's Deli, and a couple other places. It's just, to make it worse, I had people DM me about this Bill guy. Apparently, he's got decent money. Now, I don't know. I can't speak to that, right? I don't. But he seems to represent himself. He seems to have a nice career, right? I'm going under the assumption that he makes a pretty okay, decent living. You should want to pay a couple extra dollars.
Yep. Can you imagine
to your favorite restaurant, Steve?
Yeah. Imagine being in a good position and not feeling like, you know what, you should throw a little extra money on the tip. Doesn't that make you feel good rather than try to stick it to a place, take a picture when it's somewhat empty, and then complain about how much a roast beef sandwich cost? Like, what? I just don't understand the end game here. I don't know, man. I think it's, I don't know why I got so offended. I like the place. I don't know. I don't know why I got all pissed off.
You got offended because it was a scummy move, and you love Las Vegas, and it reeks of ulterior motive because it just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
He's a guy who's he's developed, as many people here have. I am a voice of Vegas, and this is the kind of stuff now, and that's why I often have trouble with the two jabronis. Who. One is, I think, completely anonymous. The other guy, what's his name? The Vital Vegas one that a lot of people hate now because he's been, an anti-masker, whatever his name is, Scott. Yeah. It's why to me, that hit and run bullshit. Like, what? I don't know. What kind of guts does it take? It's not reporting. That's why we have journalists with sources and, school and degrees.
No, it's so bullshit, man. It's so clearly fitting his narrative. Like the 138 empty, like what lunch places aren't usually packed or crowded at 138. You post that, and like you said, I don't get it other than you're trying to prove a point about something. Yeah. And it's just a lame move. Like anybody, I'm with you, Cofield. Like when we're talking about restaurants, there's a lot of local places I don't like, but I still, when I do, we actually end up talking more about local restaurants on my radio show sometimes than we do sports because it's fun. But like, there's places I don't like, or there are places that I don't go to sometimes because of various reasons. Like I have a pizza place I used to work out, and there's been a bit of a falling out, not between me, but between other people that work there in the management. I don't badmouth them on my radio show. I just don't rep them as hard. I say I used to work there. I say they have good pizza, but like when something like food, it's just bullshit. I don't know. I hate that.
It also shows that you're not really out and about town talking to people, like real people, like business owners. Like, how about take them into account? And certainly he didn't look around and look at the servers and go, because my reaction would be, yeah, this kind of sucks. It's slow right now. I'm really surprised by this. And I would look at the servers and go, man, this, because I do that all the time now. Not that I'm going out every night, but I look around sometimes and I'm like, there's no one here. Like, this server's not making anything. But instead, it's like, this place fucking sucks. It's empty. And I mean, I will not name the place, but I'll give you a good example. We have a text thread that we're doing all the time with McKinnell and JVT and Adam. And I saw a place about 2 months ago where some celebs took a picture of a place and no one was wearing a mask. And I'm like, I think the restaurant should be concerned about that because people see that. And, they can make a decision either, hey, it's an anti-mask place, I'm going to go there. Or if you're, really over the top about safety, and I said it to you guys, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go there for a while. But I didn't go on the air. I didn't go on radio. I didn't go here. Play. Like, they made a decision. I don't think it's a great one. Maybe they'll change their mind. Now, I will say, sadly, within 3 weeks, they were one of the places that did get dinged for violations. So, but there's just no point. And again, people should talk to business owners and especially restaurants and bars and see what it's like. It is shit right now. I would never go out publicly. Not that I have any power, but I would never go out and start bad-mouthing a place. Like, do you realize what they're going through and what their employees are going through? It sucks.
So I get what you say when you say you don't have any power. And I think we all, like, we take our jobs seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously. Through that, and I think that goes with anybody in your orbit, in your satellite, Cofield. I don't think you'd let anyone around you that didn't adhere on some level to that kind of, I guess, credo, right? On some level, we do have power. And I don't mean that from an egotistical standpoint. I just, it's why I tweet about half the shit I tweet about all the time. It's not really important. I'm not really important, but on some level, it is a vessel for getting information out there. On some level, Bill is a vessel for getting information out there. And when you claim to rep Vegas, and he also has this picture in his profile of some TV appearance he did, and I shit you not, in the 5th line of his little factoids, it says, hates the way Las Vegas represents itself. Or I'm paraphrasing. It's just this, like, face palm. Like, dude, you can't talk about, Vegas and using it as your brand and building yourself up and then going out of your way to take a peg out and just clip a business out by its knees. It goes back to everything that you said, Steve.
Are you right? The other one is, are you really a voice of Las Vegas when you've been here for all of 12 years? And by the way, don't listen to most jerk-offs from New Jersey and New York.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that a lot of times,
not all.
We all think we come from some great area. And, Vegas, like, shut up. We all came here for a reason. New Jersey and New York ain't that hot. Let me tell you.
Just tweets like that aren't helping. You know what I mean? They're just not helping anything. Anybody.
I told Bill there's always Subway.
Toxic echo chamber of Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. There's always Subway, Bill. I heard Applebee's has an $8.99 any burger on the menu, and I'm not bullshitting. Like I kind of am. I'm not making fun of Subway and Applebee's, but there are other options. It's as Steve said, to kick off this entire discussion, and I think I don't know. I don't want to end, but I mean, if you want premium meats, you got to pay a premium price. I mean, I think we could all agree on that. We're talking premium quality shit here, folks. Pay up. Let's go.
Last one tonight. Let's lean on.
I was happy to see the call out, Big Mac.
Well,
say one more time, Alex. You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Am I still break? Can you hear me? Are we good now?
Yes.
My Wi-Fi has been iffy.
Yeah, you're getting a little frozen, but it's okay.
Okay. I was just saying, I appreciate the call out by McKinnell on Twitter, even though I don't live in Vegas, know this joint or know the guy complaining. Yeah. I hate people like that. I hate people that tweet like that. I love local business. We vote with our dollar in the sense that what we support, it's up to us to keep these businesses alive. I can't keep my favorite local pizzeria alive, but if we all go to the places we love, maybe they'll stay afloat through this while so many are closing. So I appreciate the call out big time. Support your local.
Yeah.
Are we getting banned? Are we going to get banned for a second funnel on the show? Ryan Carhill is claiming that Alex is
why I don't stand up. That's why I don't stand. It's a catheter, actually. I've got a catheter in.
Well, you do. Very high energy radio for having a plastic tube jammed up your penis. It's incredible.
That's what keeps me going.
Multiple rants tonight. I'm a dick. I'm in a mood today.
That's my fetish.
Get all emotional. What a pansy I've become.
We're all very emotional.
Yeah.
Can't have a female president though, guys. Too emotional.
I know, right? I'm as big a baby as there is walking the earth right now.
Same.
Just up and down, up and down. Alex, is there one other thing you wanted to close on? Otherwise, I'm going to get to a little Knights here for 5 minutes.
No, I mainly cared about roast beef gate, to be honest.
We're big deli.
I know you are. I love that.
You're still dying to get your whole mustard take in here. He wants to do like a half hour on mustard. We'll get to it eventually.
I'm down.
Let me recommend another Cofield cinema. That's it. Watch the documentary Deli Man. Fucking awesome. So awesome.
What is that?
What outlet?
I think I found it on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, Deli Man, and it chronicles about. A lot of it's about the history of delis, and then it chronicles about 6 or 7 delis in different parts of the country. It's awesome, and a lot of it it's probably from like 6 years ago, Well, no, it's not about my father because obviously my father didn't even get off the ground as being a deli man. It's a hard business, man. It's a real hard business.
No one
but yeah,
talks about it.
No,
I just love that Steve's totally about this. Like he's this is not a gimmick. This is deli life to the fullest. The man has a slicer. He's watching YouTube docs. This shit is as real as it gets. It ain't the UFC.
I didn't tell the story on this show yet. Last week you guys were mocking me. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. It might have been Petro, and the group was kind of bullying me and saying, mocking me and saying that eventually I was going to use that slicer when I was a little tipsy and like cut off a finger.
Yeah.
So I didn't cut off a finger. But when I took the slicer out about 8 days ago, I didn't have the blade lock in place, and it's basically a little screw, right? That goes on the blade. I turned it on, and the blade doesn't go 100 miles an hour. It's not gonna jump off and like come at your face and slice your face in half like a cartoon. It wasn't tight enough, and it started to kind of grind, and it snapped the screw / lock that keeps the blade in place. I don't know where to get a replacement. So I've been without this slicer for like 8 days. I'm freaking out. I got corned beef. I got roast beef. I got provolone. I got Swiss. I got ham. I got turkey. What else do I have? I got turkey pastrami all sitting in my freezer. What do I do? I can't find this lock. And the next slicer I buy, I'm going for real. So I'm going to want to pay in like $250 for a new slicer. And I know the next day someone's going to be like, yeah, they sell the locks like at 7-Eleven. You just got to look in the back there. It's 14 cents. Be like, God damn it, I didn't know. So right now, I have been slicerless for like 8 days. It's ruining my life.
Is there like a deli supply type of a distributor warehouse that you could get in contact with?
No, Alex, no. This is the universe.
Mark
sending a message to Steve.
Mark, do you think
stop. Nope, stop.
No,
this is like Final Destination.
Remember
Final Destination, where weird things are happening in the house to kill Devin Sawa and like things. This is the opposite of that. This is reverse Final Destination, Steve. This is the universe taking shit away from you that you shouldn't have, right? The meat slicer is going to kill you. It's going to jump off. The blade is going to jump off the slicer. It's going to cut your throat, and you're going to die if you replace this thing. That is exactly what's going to happen. It's the universe, Steve, it's the universe warning you. Just last week, your closest friends were like, Steve, we're concerned about you. This is a serious issue. This deli slicer is going to kill you. And then just a couple days later, the deli slicer dismantles itself. The universe essentially telling you that this thing is trying to kill you, and now you're just trying to put this death machine back together. Dude, you do what you want.
Slice away, Cofield.
Look at Alex. Alex just wants your spot. He wants it to be Alex and Company. He just wants to see you die.
New guy from SoCal's like, ooh, why don't you use this slicer that I have for you? This is a special slice. I just, I didn't know Cofield that well, getting to know him, but once I found out about the slicer thing and the deli history,
Alex, no one knows Steve that well.
Yeah, but I don't care anymore. I don't care. You could have murdered people. You could be a serial killer, but the slicer will always be the most poignant part of your history to me.
It's a big chapter. Someday I will send, or I'll post a picture of me with a pee funnel with a woman back in 1994 as I was just sitting in front of her with a pee funnel just peeing all over me. I made that up totally.
Sell that. People will pay for that.
The reason you tell these stories is because we have a great group that watches us, and Renee owns a Italian restaurant. I'm now going to mine Renee for some wholesale supply places. I might be able to find it. Here's the problem though. I really bought a bottom of the barrel kind of starter slicer.
Yeah, you need a
slicer. I don't know is going to have the replacement part, but
no, Steve, you just need to upgrade. You need to go to the used restaurant equipment store. You need to get all Viking ovens. You need to get all just top of the line shit. Let's go, man. I'm excited for you. This is big.
I think it's time for Slicer 2.0.
Yep. You've now converted me. think we're all on the same page. I think this is great. You just need a more expensive slicer. What? We'll end on this. But what would a more expensive slicer offer you, Steve? What would, like my turntable. It's a nice entry-level turntable. Had it for 5 years. Enjoy it very much. I can tell you about what's up. I don't need the thing above it, but it sounds like you need the thing above it. So
I do need the next level.
So what do you get? What do you get?
The biggest challenge was where you put the meat down, like in front of the blade. That was it was a little bit small, so I'd have to cut the meat up a little bit into like smaller pieces. So that was frustrating.
So it's about size. It's about like cut area.
Yes. This blade was 7.5 inches. I can upgrade to 9. Maybe I can go a little bigger than that. More stainless steel. This was a bit plasticky. It worked well.
Oh, you want that hard steel. You want that hard.
Are we still talking
metal.
about a deli slicer? Because I feel like all of our significant others could have this conversation about something else.
Wait, Howard, is this? Come on, Howard. Now you're getting me excited. Is this a one size fits all? I feel like it's not. And where can I find this? Part 57.
If you have a listener that fixed your deli slicer, sorry.
Part 57, locking screw. All right, I'm out, guys. I gotta go. This got me very excited.
I want to know about the slicer culture. Like, what's the Cadillac of slicers? What's the Ferrari of slicers?
Yeah.
Go look up slicers. You will not believe the prices on these things. We're talking $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for slicers.
What do you get with
durability.
that? Is it like crusted in like diamond tipped saws? Like what do you? That seems excessive.
You know what, Howard? I know you're on Facebook, so I'll give you the brand.
Wow.
Name the brand. Yeah, look up expensive slicers. They're not cheap, man. That's what took down my parents' deli. They invested in the fucking slicers. They overdid it. They could have got away with an $800 slicer.
Have you seen?
They bought one for $3,000 in '78.
Hey, can we? With all of, we know. I mean, I feel like we could start a deli. Could we do this? Could we Could we get like 10 G's? I don't know. How much do you think it would take to start a deli?
It would be a dream, and the manager of the deli would be the bagel boss. I would bring him out to Vegas. Just fucking screaming at people. By the way, you think the guy complaining about the roast beef sandwich would ever had his phone in his hand to send out that tweet? Bagel boss would have broken him in half.
That is a great point.
Fucking broke his neck.
You ever heard of a Burkle 330M STD 13-inch prosciutto meat slicer?
Burkle's got to be the.
I'm looking at an $11,000 Burkle prosciutto slicer right now.
What?
Yeah, wow. I feel like the best brand is the Hobart. And I'm looking at one right now for $1,500. I feel like that's what my parents had. I don't know if it was $1,500. It was like but I mean, they're up. Big Mac, they're up here. 2040, 4334, 5700.
Wow.
Yeah.
I admire it.
God.
You know what? I'm looking at it though. That's a lot of machine. I don't know if I'm ready.
No, you're definitely fucking yourself up.
When will you be ready?
Cheap deli slicer, expensive deli slicer. You're losing some tips because I feel like that's something that even if you do sober, there's a good chance you lose skin.
Yeah. I was very safe. I'm real careful. It was it was. You're right. It wasn't the best. The fact that I didn't have it assembled correctly, that's ridiculous. That's on me.
I do feel like you are serious. Like I've seen your grill game. You're very organized and very proper, and you like to do it up. So yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Just please keep your tips.
Brady, I saw this on Nellis auction. There were like a crap ton of slicers, but even those, some of the used ones were about $300. But I didn't have the slicer knowledge back then, so I didn't want to blow it. In the end, I got a starter slicer. It worked out beautifully. It's time to upgrade. So I will try to find the screw. If I can't, then I'm moving on.
You know, if you buy a $1,500 meat slicer, you can't call yourself the man of the people anymore. You know that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. And then CJ Carson is totally latching on to the fact that the RJ will never mention our station by name or the host. Now, luckily, I screwed them because I named the show after myself, so they have to, if they want to say Cofield Company, they have no other choice. But yeah, that's the headline I will get is just local radio host dies in meat slicing accident. And in the story, and in the RJ story, when I died from the meat slicing accident, they still will not mention that one of their staffers, Adam Hill, is on the show, which they've never mentioned him. they intentionally leave him out, and then Adam backs him up, and it's like it's a journalism thing. I'm like, all right, I guess.
Also, they won't do their due diligence and pull the quote from tonight's happy hour where I predicted your upcoming death, which I feel like is a part of this narrative that should get highlighted when you inevitably do die from the reverse Final Destination universe stuff we talked about.
Do you realize if we try to do this on the show and Adam is on the show, what happens to Cofield and Company that day? Are we doing 3 hours of Slicer talk?
Yeah. Yeah, the most insane shows we used to do on that when it was me and Adam. And we like he'd come in and 5 minutes to go, we'd have no rundown. It's like, well, shit, let's talk about deli meats and music for 3 hours. Sorry, Steve.
You can't
probably why I'm not at the station anymore.
You don't run out. You don't run out. Like,
you're on the bigger show now.
Once you open Pandora's box with slicers, and you just
people want what the people want.
Yeah, exactly. I want it. I want to learn. I
Yeah.
want to learn.
That's what we're here for.
I lost it. I'm can't concentrate on the show. I'm very pensive now. I'm just thinking about. I'm looking at all the links in here. It's gonna be a long night.
Cofield, there's a lot out there, dude.
Checking out Slicers.
Doesn't he know?
I hope the camera's not on while I'm watching the Slicers. Could get ugly in here.
Hey, that's what the OnlyFans is for. Hey,
I do all my shows via Zoom now for satellite, and each time I open back up my browser, I see that Zoom link still open, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, it could get. It's a whole new world, guys. I'd be very careful.
This is a brilliant producer giving another really good producer advice. Ari, if you're smart, I would go
what is deli meat music, Steve?
No.
What is
that? You're like, Ari, go find deli meat music. What does that even mean?
We don't need music, but what we could find are lots of, if there are, several 70s and 80s deli commercials, like local deli commercials. You can find those on YouTube. I don't know if you can find deli commercials, but you can find just about every commercial. YouTube is a treasure trove for that stuff. So we'll see what we can find. We'll see what the vast sound crew, if you're listening at Lotus, we've got 11 people pulling sound for us on a daily basis. Here's a request.
We need the Maury's wigs of deli commercials.
God, I have too many stories. I have too many meat stories. You're right. I don't know if they're good stories, but Alex, it's all night long. I could do it. In the future, I will definitely tell the story of buying hot dogs via mail order, and the hot dogs. I'm cheap. The hot dogs